Hey guys, so today I thought it would be fun to walk you through a piece of my office that I use daily and kind of just walk you through what I have kind of on display and kind of some of the common items that I use and what I pack in my bag and all that good stuff. So we will walk you over to this corner, which is where I have my lovely Kelly Moore bag that I got recently, and I will do a review on this bag here soon just because I love it so much and it's amazing. Right here is a plug that I always have two dual chargers plugged and ready to go, so usually about 2 or 3 hours before each shoot I will pop in some fresh batteries to get them freshly charged. And this little piece I actually got off Craigslist. That's my grandmother. I got this dresser off Craigslist, and I just keep this on the wall in my office that kind of holds all of my gear and kind of just some knickknacks and organizer stuff. So we'll start here at the top. Is actually another Kelly Moore bag that's also amazing. It looks actually very similar to the larger one below that I just recently got, but this one's a little smaller that I'll take to shoots where I don't have to carry too many lenses with me. Over to the left are some fun folders that I got at probably Marshalls or Home Goods that I kind of just organize receipts or if I'm going to an upcoming workshop or something like that that I can kind of quickly grab. I try not to keep too much paper stuff in my office. I've just tried to keep everything digital, so it's easier to get and transfer around. So mainly for receipts is what I throw up there. On the top shelf here, this is kind of more just for fun. I actually have a shot from my milk bath session that the lovely Emily Gerald Photography took of me. One of my favorite portraits with my mom and my brother. I think I actually printed that around Mother's Day. Rosaries, some necklaces, and this, I love this cup. I've actually never used it, Sherry, but one of my awesome clients gave this to me. I guess this was a few years ago. My goodness, that has flown by. I've never used it because it's so pretty. I just wanted to have it on display, that I probably should use it. This was another gift, and this camera, it's a Nikon N2000 film camera that my parents used when I was growing up, and these are their original lenses. The flash and all of that is theirs, and I just remember them taking pictures growing up, and it's just so cool that I have this. I think I found some old film rolls in the camera bag, so I've always wanted to get those developed just to see kind of what's behind the film in this camera. But anyway, I would love to tinker around with this thing one day just for fun, but brings back a lot of memories. This shelf is very important. This houses all of my gear, all of my lenses, and I'll go into a little more in-depth review of my arsenal of lenses, but as you can see, I am a Nikon shooter. Behind here, actually, one of my girlfriends, Emily, made that for me. I love it. I usually hang it actually on the door of my office, but have it here for right now. So we will quickly go through these again. I'll do this more in review. This is the Nikon D810. This is my primary camera that I take with me. I've had it for, I guess, going on 2 years now. I love it. It's amazing. This thing can shoot in the dark if it needs to. It's pretty awesome. On this camera body, I have the 2470 2.8. This, I actually use this a lot, just because it's so versatile when I'm going into a shoot, whether it be a newborn session, which I've done a few of those lately. So it helps me when I'm in tight spaces that I can really zoom out all the way out to 24 millimeters, so I can really get the full story, if you will, in a room. So I usually have this on my camera all the time. This is the my macro lens, 105 millimeter 2.8. This is where I can get all of those close-up shots, particularly with newborn sessions. I take this to every newborn session. This is where I can zoom in on baby's nose and toes and all those little detail shots that can really kind of blow up in macro, if you will, the image. This is my 70-200 lens, 2.8, and I don't use this enough. I like to be up close with my clients during portrait sessions, which a lot of these other lenses can allow me to do. This lens, you have to be very kind of far away and when at a time when I want to kind of give my clients some space, or when I used to shoot weddings, I would use this for the ceremonies. I actually recently used this past weekend, actually at a baptism. When I walked into the church, the priest let me know that, with it being a spiritual service, that photography would need to be all the way in the back of the church. I had a quiet shutter, so that helped. And of course, I didn't use any flash to be any kind of distraction, but I slapped this bad boy on and I was able to be all the way in the back of the church and zoom all the way into the service and capture all those details without any problem. So this thing has been a lifesaver. This little baby is the 85 1.4. This is by far my favorite lens. I don't shoot enough with it. I really am making more of a conscious effort to whip it out when I can. I typically will only shoot roughly 1 to 2 people with this lens, just because it kind of has a tight crop. So if I had like a family of 4 or 5 using this lens, I would have to back up to get everybody in the frame. One thing to note, if you're not a photo guru and know all the lingo, there's a difference between zoom lenses and prime lenses. And prime lenses are ones that you don't physically zoom in and out with your hand, as far as like the 24-70. You can twist here where this zooms in and out. Prime lenses like the macro, the 85, the 35, and the 50 are all ones where I actually have to physically move with my feet to kind of zoom in and out on a photo. The 70-200, I can use my hand to kind of twist to zoom in and out. The 35 and the 50 millimeter, the 35 I actually don't really use that much, just because I have the 24-70, so that kind of gives me the best of both worlds to be able to zoom in and out. The 50 I keep on my backup camera, which is the Nikon D610. So I bring this backup camera with me now to every shoot. I've been doing that probably for the last year or so, because I had an instance, I guess this was a little over a year ago, where this D610 was actually my primary camera at the time, and I didn't bring a backup camera with me. And for the first time ever, my camera, when I was changing lenses to this 85 lens, which is probably why I have a little bit of hesitation switching to that lens in the middle of a shoot, but this 610 failed on me, and I took the battery out and the memory card out, and I was restarting it several times. I tried to troubleshoot, and this little sucker would not turn on. And thankfully, it was towards the end of a shoot. My clients were super awesome about it, and we were able to fix it in the end. I actually had to ship it to Nikon for them to fix it. Anyway, lesson learned. I now have the D810 as my primary, and I keep the 610 with me in my bag as a backup should anything go wrong. These are my lens hoods. I'll pick that up in a second. This is kind of just a cluster of stuff, but lens caps that go on my cameras if I want to travel without the lenses on them. Lens hoods, I bring them along in case I get in a situation where I really like the location, but the light isn't as ideal. If the sunlight is really strong, then I'll pop these on to my, these are the hoods for my 85 and for my 24-70. So that way it'll kind of reduce a lot of the lens flare glare in the images. I do like some lens flare, sun glare in my images, but not too much. I kind of try to keep a balance, so that's when those lens hoods help. In here, let me turn this a little bit. Let's see, we have some remote controllers. I do a lot of photo booths. If you go to a photographer or a party hosted by a photographer, there's more or less going to be a photo booth. So we use this for our annual Christmas parties and just birthday parties and fun little stuff. So I always have those on hand. Some extra lens hoods, some flash drives, extra memory cards, an Expo disc, which I actually haven't played much with this thing. It's actually for kind of helping and training you with white balance. These are my battery grips. I have one of each that fit on both the D610 and 810. I don't really carry them around with me because it makes my camera, adds a little more weight to my camera, but also I just carry a bunch of batteries on me anyway, so I don't really worry about it running out of battery. So in here I have my Speedlight flash, the SB700. I'm a natural light photographer, so 9 times out of 10 I am using the natural window light that is available. But again, for my photo booths, I will bring this thing out, and I'm trying to think of another scenario when I would bring this out. Photo booths, pretty much all that comes to mind. An external battery that I'll bring along if I'm traveling or something like that. Lots of hand sanitizer. I'm a newborn photographer, so have to have that on hand. Extra batteries, lipstick, this little guy to charge cell phone or whatever in the car. Down here, I've got some business cards, some mints that I'll grab before hopping into the car to head to a session, some really cute gold office supplies, because why not? And I have a bunch of books that are on my list to read. I've dug into a few of these, but I really need to get better about setting aside some time to actually dig through some of these. In the back, some vintage camera just for decor reasons, no real reason, but I do collect some of these vintage cameras and have them kind of spread throughout my house, and I love them. Put my logo in a frame because, you know, why not? A bag full of batteries, and again, before I head to a session, roughly 2 hours or so before, I will pop them into my wall charger and get all of these charged up and ready to go. I have my CF reader, Insignia. It's the brand. I got it off Amazon. So as soon as I get home, I will plug my memory cards into my reader to get them downloaded onto my external hard drive, which I might have an example of that. Actually, it's in my other drawer. But so there's that. And then this guy. I have 2 of these. I have a frog and a ladybug, and they are called Lens Buddies. And if you do not have one of these and you're a photographer that photographs children, I highly recommend you hop on Amazon. Henry is trying to break in my office right now. You hop on Amazon and get one of these. This thing just pops right on your lens like this, and it's hilarious. A lot of them have squeaker toys in them, so you can squeak. It can help pets to look at you, kids to look at you, and it's always a good time, and definitely has some guaranteed smiles. And that's about it. Oh, I dropped this little guy. I keep this in my camera bag. It looks really weird, and kids are always like, what the heck is this? But whenever I change out lenses, I'll just use this blower to kind of clean out my camera and my lenses before I pop them on, just to get any extra dust or anything like that out of the way. So that's a quick little tour of this little corner of my office that I use all the time, particularly this shelf. Again, I'll go into another detail about my lenses and kind of what's in my bag or what I pack for particular sessions, but thought that would be fun for you to get a little tour and have a great day. Thanks, guys. Bye.